/17ski variations class recap. We started off with the down arm spiral, aka the drop. You want to make sure that you're trying to keep everything down a divided line on the center point with the bridge of our nose. Palm facing up, you raise that up above your head, and you twist until you can't quite twist anymore, and the pinky side edge of the staff is about to pass over the top of your head. And at that point that you release, that should fall onto the most upward facing part of your forearm to roll down. And while that's happening, we want to try to keep an arc with our arm. We don't want to be like that, or like this, or like this. Nice, gentle arc with the arm, so that it rolls right down in that pattern and hopefully pinches at the neck. So you can repeat that and drill that over and over, just working on the drop, keeping your arm up, until you get to the point that you're constantly getting the center point to land where it's about to cross the center of the back of your neck. Once that's good to go, then you start working on your neck wrap. Hand against the neck, center point lined up with your spine. You reach back and grab a hold of it, and you should hopefully have the right distance to get from here to there. Consistent. So once that's good, you want to make sure you're using a nice, clean, horizontal path with your release, so the staff always comes out clean and horizontal on the other end. If your hand's down low when you try to do it, you're going to end up with some funky stuff. So that's where it's important to follow through here. While that's happening, we're also making sure our neck's moving around like a hula hooper would. So you drill that and get comfortable with the staff coming out where you want it to. Once it gets to that, once you're clean with that, you're going to wait until the front end of the staff, hopefully the shorter edge of it, gets to where it's pointing out in front of you before you take your other arm and chase after it. Drop your shoulder so it rolls down, and then rise up when it gets to your forearm to catch. So that starts looking like. Once that's good, you can start doing neck to the up arm. And then eventually adding the down arm into the neck. And then eventually all three of them together into the half steep. So once that's good, you can start doing like a grip pass. To make it consistent with your flow. And then the next thing I showed you guys for consistency and like starting to fine tune what's happening with your up arm is to start doing a toss. Give it more power than necessary to get it up. And then start fine tuning that down to where it's slowly getting up to your hand. Right. And then from there I showed you guys the hand over hand Steve. We started off with it pinched on our shoulder. We'll give it a whip, it rolls up to the back of the hand, and then the other arm comes underneath and catches it and lets it roll back down. And that looks like and then I showed you guys the prayer. Important thing with the prayer is while the staff's coming up, you're letting one side of the body do the work while the other one just kind of trails behind in a wave. You can drill that with just the front side like so. And then eventually you can also do the prayer with a push. Your pinkies point up rather than trying to do it horizontally. And then I showed you guys palm spins. Starting with palm spin, hand in front of you and overhead. When it gets to the point that you like, you push your hand out in front and let it roll down. And then working that same idea up to the up arm. And then a transfer with palm to palm in between. So that's what I managed to show in the class. Let me grab my notes real quick.
So
sure I don't forget any of these. Okay, so this is outside the context of the class, but I'll go through all the variations that I do know. Starting off with single spin. As I mentioned with the steed, what's happening is the staff is really only rotating around one full revolution along the track that you're creating with your body. So if I were doing the hand over hand, the staff's only making one revolution around an oval path. Other variations that follow that same principle are rather than a hand over hand with a little toss and drop in between, you can actually keep your hands connected. You can, and out, you can, rather than your palms facing down, you can point your palms out towards your crown. Same thing, just the clasp of the hand is pointing a different direction. It's a little harder. There is, okay, and then there are minimal steves where rather than using the back of the neck, I'm going to remove that from the pattern, so I'm using just my shoulders and it skips that wrap on the neck. This is what they call it, a chest minimal. You can do the same thing and go on the back of the neck and duck. There is a caged steve, where rather than raising our arms up above, we're going to let the staff pass down below the shoulder line. Take it off. You can combine the caged with the chest steve for like a full cage. Cage. There's also another minimal steve called a takeout, where you just keep the staff on just the arms and never hit the center point. About the time the staff gets to your deltoid, you replace your hand as the track. I use that a lot to as a momentum builder. So if I want to do multiple spins on my chest, I have enough circular momentum for that to happen. And then playing off of the 1.5 spin that happens with the prayer, there are a number of variations that are the same where your hands are together just in a different formation. So there's an interlace, where your fingers are locked together. Same thing as the prayer, except you're making fists with the interlaced fingers. You can do that same thing interlaced out. There is, skip the knuckles. I'm doing these all out of order now. You can do the same thing such as the hand over hand, backtracking now, but instead of letting your hands come out, you can make fists. knuckles together. And then there's like, and then from there it just gets really like intricate on trickiness. Like most audiences wouldn't even notice if I were to do the same thing with my index fingers up. Or just my pinkies. Wow. Get it too there it is.
Swoop.
Or even the thumbs. Kind of cheating, but I'm propellering with my thumbs. Okay, and then something we didn't even really get the chance to touch on. Oh, okay. There's also the toss, like a bigger toss. I was showing you guys like throwing it up and then letting it come down, and we were doing like a small hop and getting it to come down. You can keep building that up. Or you can even mix in a palm spin into that. To make it fancier. And obviously anything else, you can do those same tosses with 1.5, such as the prayer. Same thing with the cage, or with the interlace. Start mixing tosses into all of those. And then one thing I never even started to cover was the whole front side version of the Steve, which gives you the full. Everything still applies, except when you start off with the front side, your palm's not facing up to get you to the back. It's actually facing out and rotating the opposite direction. So like, if I were starting with my left and twisting this way, I would turn the same, but my hand would be out with the opposite hand so that I can roll down the inside of the arm, across the throat, and then up to the outside. So almost a whole other class. But the full Steve, with that combined, looks like variation you can throw in the middle of it with propellers, which is almost another class. Using the back of the hand and the wrist to keep continuous motion happening, propelling and stuff. And then using that as flare on the side. So I'll just do like a run of all of them. So hand over hand. Prayer. Interlaced. Interlaced out. Toss. Caged out. Cage. Four. Toss. Maybe, oh yeah, cages.
Yeah!
Hey! Whoa.
Woo! So there's obviously a whole lot of variations and combos you can mix all that together in, and that's why Steve's like the bread and butter contact, because there's so many things you can do with it, and it leads into so many other things. There's a whole other class I could teach on, like a Steve matrix, and how to like use the Steve 2 matrix and get in and out of both of them, and like minimals of matrices and minimals of Steves put together.
Next class, right?
Next MOPS.
All right.
That was awesome. Thank you.
You, Jameson.
Yeah.